Hello and welcome to Shadow Mountain Community Church Cru Ministry. I'm Pastor Jesse and I'm so excited to get to connect with you guys. If this is your first time watching these videos, if you're an incoming sixth grader, I just wanted to say welcome. I'm so excited to get to know you guys. I wish that we were able to do it in person, but you know what? We're gonna get there. We're gonna get through this and we'll be able to be together. But in the meantime, I just wanted to get a chance to say hello and welcome you guys. And also, I had a couple important announcements I wanted to let you guys know about. So first thing is, for those of you who have been in Cru for a little while, you guys know Christian Garcia. He's been doing a bunch of things in Cru for a couple years now. And we have an exciting transition happening for Christian that we wanted to tell you about. He's actually been serving here for a while and doing all kinds of stuff with worship and tech and programming. And he's going to be joining The Gathering, the high school ministry. So if you're in 8th grade moving up, he's actually going to be moving up with you guys. And he's headed over to The Gathering, hanging out with Grant and everything they got going on. So excited. So even though we're going to miss him a lot, we're excited for what God is doing in his life and is going to continue to do in and through him. And at the same time, we want to let you guys know about a couple other changes happening that are some exciting stuff. One of those is that we are getting a couple new members to our team at the Cru. A couple of you guys might have seen this new guy show up on some of our videos this week. His name is Dylan. Dylan is going to be joining us in that spot where Christian was, the programming coordinator, doing all the stuff with worship and tech and programming and stuff. Dylan knows a lot of things. In fact, he's been serving in our college ministry for a long time. So he already knows what he's doing. He's crazy talented, such a fun guy. I can't wait for you guys to get to know him. And then secondly, we have another person joining our team, Krista Gonzalez. Krista is, she actually had been involved in Cru for 7 years before. And so Krista already knows so much about the Cru, which is awesome. She's going to be jumping in as our admin person, doing all the stuff with sending out emails and registration. And she's the one who knows everything there is to know about stuff like our like camps and registering for different events and all the awesome paperwork stuff, which is so important. She's the person who knows all that. She'll be answering phone calls anytime you guys call us at the office and emails and stuff like that. So welcome to Krista, welcome to Dylan. We're so excited to have you guys on our team and joining us. So I just wanted to give you guys a chance to put a face to the names so you know who we are. And then lastly, I want you guys, if you're new to Cru, I want you guys to get a chance to meet our whole team real quick. So here's what we're going to do. I wanted everybody to answer a few questions. So here we go.
Hey guys, my name is Stacy and my favorite part about working at Cru is getting to hang out with you guys every single week. When I was in middle school, one random thing about me is that I played and finished my first ever video game. And I'm proud to say it was a Sonic the Hedgehog game that I still own to this day, and I still play it sometimes. When I was in middle school, my dream job was to be an employee at Hot Dog on a Stick because for whatever reason, I thought the outfits were really cool. The most often used emoji in my phone is the shrugging emoji. I don't really know why. And then if I were in an alternate universe and I was able to be in the Olympics, I would hope to be a really amazingly talented Olympic weightlifter.
What's up guys, my name is Derek and what I love most about Cru is being able to help teach you guys more about Jesus and help you walk alongside him. One really fun memory that I remember from middle school is I would always play, like lightsaber fights with my brothers, and I still do sometimes today, but mostly back then in middle school. As a child, I always wanted to be a Jedi and a professional football player on the San Diego Chargers. They're not around anymore, so that's sad. But only one of those are true. Actually, 0 of those things are true. But that's okay. My most used emoji is probably the guy with the monocle, because I actually really like old-timey English. I think it's kind of funny. So whenever I can use that, I use it. If I were in the Olympics, I would probably compete in fencing because that's probably the closest thing you can do to legally be a real Jedi, and that's my dream, so I do that.
Hey guys, my name is Bianca, and one of my favorite things about Crew is all of the people that are involved, whether they're the leaders or the students, even the incoming 6th graders. All you guys are super cool, and it's the kindness that makes the place fun. Number 2, what is one fun and or funny experience you remember about middle school, camp, youth group, school style, etc.? Oh, when I was starting middle school youth group, I was at the same church for many years, and I thought that just because I went into middle school ministry that they wouldn't remember me or my name, and so I was super shy and I didn't really talk to anyone. But it's not like that at all. You're still the same person, and you just like go up a grade, and yeah, a lot changes in like 3 years. So, as a child, what did you want to be when you grew up? When I was younger, I didn't know growing up was a thing, so I just wanted to be myself, and I wanted to be in college, maybe be an actor or something. Anything's possible. What is your most used emoji? My most used emoji is the crying laughing face and the heart. What sport would you compete in if you were in the Olympics? I don't really watch the Olympics, but I think figure skating is a sport, and I would compete in that if I could.
What's up, crew? My name is Dylan Smith, and I am brand new to the team here, and I can already tell you what my favorite part of the crew is, and it's all of you, the students. I am super stoked to get to meet every single one of you, learn your favorite things, your favorite video games, favorite sports, favorite hobbies, favorite worship songs, all that stuff. So that is my favorite thing, is the students. Okay, so I don't know if I should be sharing this because this is your first impression of me, but I've shared it at middle school ministry before. So it was Christmas time. We were having one of our class Christmas parties. You know how it goes. Everyone meets outside in the little blacktop area, and we had one of those red jelly balls. Okay, we were in 8th grade, so we thought we were super cool. We could do whatever we wanted. We had one of those jelly balls, you know? And one of our friends was a really good soccer player. So there was a big crowd of people, and he said, "Oh, I'm gonna kick this into that big crowd of people." And I'm like, "No, don't do that, don't do that. Someone's gonna get hurt." But he kicks it, and it goes all the way up in the air. And in slow motion, we could see it, and it was no! And it landed right on a teacher's head, and we all got in big trouble. So that's my crazy middle school story. When I was a child, I think in middle school, my career goal was to be a general manager of a Major League Baseball team. My most used emoji is the laughing emoji. That's my go-to for just about everything, fits in every conversation. Yeah, I think second most used is the red heart. So, if I was in the Olympics, I'm not super athletic. I played baseball most of my life, and that's, I think, an Olympic sport now. But if I could do any Olympic sport, it'd be swimming, because it doesn't matter where you are, what city the Olympics are in, you know you get to sit in that cold, nice, refreshing pool.
Hi, my name is Krista, and my favorite thing about the crew is that middle school is just so fun, and the crew is a place where they can have fun and also learn about Jesus. So when I was in middle school, I actually went to the crew too, and at the time we had this summer trip called Rockin' Water. We drove up to Sacramento and we camped outside, no tents, and we did whitewater rafting and rock climbing, and it was this really fun, really cool adventure camp, and it's still one of my favorite memories to this day. When I was a kid, I told my parents that I wanted to be a rhinoceros doctor. Yep, I don't know what that is, but that's what I want. My most used emoji is for sure the heart eyes one. I have an 8-month-old daughter, and whenever I get pictures of her or send pictures of her, the heart eyes emoji is the one I always use. She's stinking cute. If I did an Olympic sport, it would probably be swimming. I did water polo and swim when I was younger, and I love both. I would love to play Olympic water polo, but those girls are scary, and so I would just stick to swimming in my own lane.
All right, guys, so for Moving Up Weekend, we've decided to do something super cool. We're gonna interview 3 students from the same family. One is coming into the Cru, one is already a part of the Cru, and one is gonna be moving on to the Gathering in 9th grade. But instead of making it a boring old interview, we decided to do something super cool with it, so check it out.
Lauren Bias. Noah Bias.
Christian Bias.
What are you most looking forward to about Cru?
Meeting new people. Meeting new people.
Noah, tell us about a favorite memory that you've had in Cru over the past year.
Working in the tech.
What was that?
Working in the tech.
What's something fun that happened at camp?
I went fishing.
It's like fishing, dodgeball.
I went fishing.
Christian,
Yeah.
what are you going to miss most about Cru?
I can't do this. All the friends we had. All the friends we had.
Do you have any parting advice for your sister and all the other incoming 6th graders that are headed into Cru?
Just have a good time and meet some new people. Just have a good time and meet some new people. I can't do this. Meet some new people.
On your mark, get set, go. We have a winner! That was disgusting. Hey everyone. So if you're kind of new to Cru, I wanted you guys to know that every Sunday what we like to do is we want to encourage you guys to watch Pastor Jeremiah's message. And that's why we kind of post this around the middle of the day on Sunday, because we want you as a family to be watching Pastor Jeremiah all together, going to church as a family while you guys are here at home. And then what we like to do is we like to just kind of unpack it a little bit and have some more final thoughts on it. And so that's what I am doing now. I just want to give you guys a little bit of what I pulled from this message and maybe some things that you can get out of it too as you go into your week. So Pastor Jeremiah's message this weekend was on Psalm 107. And I really liked this message a lot. I got a lot out of it, and I hope you guys did too. The very first thing in this psalm, at the beginning of Psalm 107, it says, "Give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. His love endures forever. Let the redeemed of the Lord tell their story." This whole psalm is all about these different stories of people being redeemed by God. And it looks at 4 different really cool examples of types of situations people are in where God redeems them out of it. God helps them out of their situation. And so in Pastor's message, we talked about how people that are in like a desert type of situation and they're just starving and hungry, and maybe not literally a desert, but even just figuratively in this desert place of being dried up spiritually or something like that. People that are in that place. And from that, what does God do? It says in verse 6, "Then they cried out to the Lord in their trouble, and he delivered them from their distress. He led them by a straight way to a city where they could settle. So these people in this first part of the psalm, they're in trouble. They're in a desert place, and then they cry out to the Lord, and he saves them. Now, I want you to start to notice this, because if you read through the psalm, this is a theme that carries on throughout the entire thing. So next thing, we're looking down a little further, and we see that that some people, they're in darkness. They're prisoners, and so they're in this place of being imprisoned. And I have a close family member that spent some years in prison, and so I really related to this idea of just thinking about what that would be like to be imprisoned. And again, we see in verse 13 now, then they cried out to the Lord in their trouble, and he saved them from their distress. He brought them out of darkness, the utter darkness, and broke away their chains. I love that imagery. For my family member, someone that was close to me who spent some time in prison, God redeemed him out of that situation, and he is doing amazing and has been for years now because God brought him out of his distress. I really relate to that one. And then again, we're reading down. Next thing we come to is verse 17. And this was where Pastor talked about this idea of being in a hospital, being close to death. Some people, because of maybe hardship they've brought upon themselves, whether through some kind of addiction or just something like that, they're in this place where they're close to the grave. It even says in verse 17, they draw near to the gates of death. What imagery. And so some people are in that place. Some people are in a really a place of just being desperate because they're close to dying. And it says here, again, we're seeing this theme in verse 19. Then they cried out to the Lord in their trouble, and he saved them from their distress. He sent out his word and healed them and rescued them from the grave. Wow, that is awesome. And then finally, this last picture that we get in Psalm 107 is this picture of being on a storm, in the middle of a storm on the sea. That starts in verse 23. I've actually spent some time on the ocean sailing, and something fun that I like to do. And I've been in a few storms on the ocean, and I can tell you it can be pretty terrifying. I've never been in anything super crazy to where I thought, oh my gosh, we might die. But I definitely have been in a situation in a storm on the water where I found myself crying out to God, asking him for help. So I could really relate to this idea, definitely, of being in a storm. And again, all of these things, they're not just pictures of situations people were literally in, but they're all a picture of circumstances any of us could be in life. Whether it's a dried up place in life where we just feel like spiritually we're just dry, nothing is affecting us. We don't feel close to God. That's like a desert. Or if it's a place of imprisoned, like in a place being imprisoned, whether it's a situation we got ourselves into where we feel just stuck, maybe in our sin or something like that, or being in a place of sickness, like, whether you have a loved one who's sick or you yourself are really sick. We're all dealing with a lot of that right now with the whole quarantine thing and COVID-19. And then finally, a storm. I think we all can relate to this idea of being in a storm right now. The situation the world is facing is a big storm. But as Pastor Jeremiah pointed out in his message, God is with us in the midst of the storm. And finally, what we see in that storm situation in verse 28, again, then they cried out to the Lord in their trouble, and he brought them out of their distress. He stilled the storm with a whisper, and the waves of the sea were hushed. It makes me think of that story in the gospel where, in one of the gospels where Jesus calms the storm. And all of the disciples are thinking, we're going to die. We're in the middle of the storm. And Jesus calms the storm, and he just says, peace. and the whole storm calms down. It makes me think of that idea because the reality is it doesn't matter what we're going through. God is there with us in the midst of it. Whether it's a desert situation or a prison situation or a hospital sickness situation or a storm, God is with us in the midst of it. And the theme that we see all throughout this, all 4 times in all 4 situations, is that idea of crying out to God for help. And guys, can I just tell you that there is no better response we could ever have, no matter what you are going through. There is no better response than simply saying, God, help me. Help me through this. And I've definitely been in situations in my life where that was the case, where all I needed was just to cry out to God and ask him for help. And he's so willing to help us. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be, God, help me with my homework. He is there for us and he loves us, just like it said in the beginning of this psalm. And this is a phrase that's said a lot in the Psalms. Give thanks to the Lord, for he's good. His love endures forever and ever. And the end of the psalm also says something really cool. It says, let the one who is wise heed these things and ponder the loving deeds of the Lord. Think about God's love toward us. So what I want you guys to think about this week, as you kind of just take this to heart, and I encourage you, read it on your own. Read through it several times, really absorb it. But the one thing I want you to take away is that the best response we can have when we are in a storm, when we are in a desert place, when we feel imprisoned by our sin, when we feel sick, is to just say, God, help. Crying out to God and asking him for help. That's all he wants. And he's right there ready to help us in whatever we are going through. Don't let it be the last thing you do. A lot of times, praying and asking God for help is like the last thing we think of when we're going through a hard time. Maybe we try everything else, and then finally, when nothing else works, we say, okay, God, please help me. But instead, let that be your first response. And so hopefully you guys are encouraged by that. And I want you to think about whatever you're going through, whatever the hardest thing is right now that you're dealing with, whether it's something going on with your family, something going on with your friend relationships, something going on just with our circumstances in life right now. Maybe you're really, freaked out about what's going on in the world today. Stop. Cry out to God. Ask him for help. And he is there for you. He wants to hear from you. He wants to help you through whatever you're going through. He is faithful and he loves you. Will you guys pray with me? God, thank you so much for Psalm 107 and just what an encouragement that is to us. That no matter what we're going through, we hear these stories of people who have been redeemed by the Lord. And whatever they're going through, they cried out to you and you helped them. And you want to do the same for us. You love us so much. Thank you for your love. And I just pray that whatever anyone is going through who hears this, that they would cry out to you and that you would hear them and heal them and just be in the midst of whatever they're going through. I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you so much for joining us. If you are new to Cru, here are a few things that you'll want to know. Number 1, we post videos every Sunday and Wednesday, so make sure to check us out on YouTube or Instagram.
Second, we do Zoom Hangouts every Wednesday. So if you are free on Wednesday night, we will email you the Zoom links and come hang out. We would love to get to meet you.
And lastly, we want to hear from you. If you have any questions at all, or you just want to reach out and say hi, you can reach us at crew@shadowmountain.org, or you can give us a call at 619-590-1711.
Thanks for watching. I'm really excited to get to meet all you guys, and we will see you hopefully very, very soon.